Hello, 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 hello. Okay, it's good. It's good. It's good. It's good. Okay. Nice, 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 nice. Yes, yes, yes. Watch it. Boom. Live synchronize. Yep. Hello. Oh, my internet. God damn it. Internet is bad today. Come on, internet. Me. Yep. Okay. Get back to life. Okay, it's. I guess we just record it and then we'll do the same thing. So, yeah. Guess we could stop streaming. Then, start streaming. From the YouTube, you can see me, but from the Twitch, they can't. So let's start streaming again, and we got the green. Okay, that's good. Good. It's good. It's good. It's good. Okay, we live. It's good. Okay, we live. I see. Nice. Nice, 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 nice. Okay. Then we need our terminal to be big. Okay. Well, we can start learning some stuff. And HTML, go.
This plus sign is the adjacent combinator, and what this will do is select the paragraphs that are immediately preceded by an H1, or you can think of it the other way, paragraphs that come right after an H1 on the same.
Why don't you just hustle the... Huh? Why don't you just hustle legal problems 24/7? Oh, lead code problems? Um, I don't like lead code. I mean, I could do lead code, but it doesn't teach me. So let's say that you want to build a website, right? Do you use lead code? I mean, do you use the skill of lead code? Because lead code essentially wanted you to know algorithms. And so you see there's Fibonacci, binary tree, linked list. I mean, these are useful in some cases if you need it, but I don't really need it because I'm more of a project-based guy. So I'll make a website, make an app, and make like let's say that I made what did I make? The portfolio site and commerce site, HTML parser. So I don't really need linked list, binary tree. I mean binary tree kind of needed, but Fibonacci, like, why do you know? Why do we have to know Fibonacci too? It's just like getting better at algorithm, not programming itself. So I want to make something that is useful, not the algorithm. So yeah, I mean, if some people want to do lead code. It's okay. Like if you want to get a job, then do lead code, and then if they ask, but I believe nowadays they don't ask lead code. I don't know. Yeah, they give you a bunch of lead code, but I mean, essentially, if you can make projects, I believe that if you can make projects, that is more impressive than lead code, because when you do the job, it's doing the project, not the lead code. I mean, not the algorithm. I mean, there's algorithms, but I don't know. I just don't like it. But yeah, for job, then yeah. Dude, how you gonna tell me I want an American developer who live and work in US? What? Did I tell you that?
Level. So they're adjacent. They're not
Weird.
children or parents are not nested in any way. It's one after the other. So we don't have a lot of, I can't think of a good situation really just to demonstrate this here with our current markup, but I'm just going to show you anyway. If we look at our markup, we've got an input and then a button immediately afterwards. It's a login button. If I wrote input and then a plus sign button,
Connecting.
and then let's do something like maybe change the background color.
What?
Background. Right? It's so the next up, a 2-for-1 video. We're going to cover two selectors that you should definitely know about, but they're not as commonly used as the previous selectors I've mentioned. We're going to talk about the adjacent selector and the direct child or direct descendant selector. So the adjacent, technically these are actually called combinators, just for the record. The selector here is H1 and paragraph. Those are element selectors, and this is a combinator that sort of alters the behavior of the overall selection. But most people just call it a selector. Anyway, this plus sign is the adjacent combinator, and what this will do is select the paragraphs that are immediately preceded by an H1, or you can think of it the other way, paragraphs that come right after an H1 on the same level. So they're adjacent. They're not children or parents are not nested in any way. It's one after the other. So we don't have a lot of, I can't think of a good situation really just to demonstrate this here with our current markup, but I'm just going to show you anyway. If we look at our markup, we've got an input and then a button immediately afterwards. It's a login button. If I wrote input and then a plus sign button, and then let's do something like maybe change the background color to, how about pink, just for a quick demo. I'm going to refresh, and we can see that the one button that comes immediately after an input is turned pink. It has a pink background color. Now, I'm not.
Interesting, huh? Fuck you. So if we do so many mosquitoes here. Like text. Oh my god. And then there is a button. It says login button. Now if we link link style sheet, and then we have to index.css. Index.css, and then I do input plus button background color pink. So I do that. I see. Makes sense.
I'm not going to leave that, but let's find another example. How about if I actually work with these buttons to vote right here? Any button that comes immediately after an H2. So this will apply to all matches. The previous example there was
What? Oh. If I could go back in 18, I would not worry about anything but lead code problems. Trust me. At 24. I see. Yeah, I see. I see where you're coming from, but maybe in the future I will do it, but I don't know. I mean, what kind of lead code problems do you solve? Like is there any special thing you like about lead
one
code
match, but if
that you like doing and not like do you like making projects though?
we have more than one, like H2 plus button, maybe I want to resize them. I do think they're a bit big, definitely. So let's do that here. Font size, and I don't know, how about, what did I set them all to up here? 30 pixels? Maybe 20 pixels. Refresh. That's not super noticeable, but it did work, but let me just make it really noticeable right away. Background color, magenta. There we go.
I see. Yeah, I have a question. How do you know that you build more projects than me? It's kind of sketchy, right? Isn't that sketchy when you said you build more projects than me?
So every button that comes right after an H2 on the same level, and that's exactly what we have, H2 and then button. Okay, so I'm going to undo that. I don't want magenta, but I'll leave this here so you have a record of it. And now the next selector we'll look at is the direct descendant or direct child combinator. We use the greater than sign, that right angle bracket. I think that's the right angle bracket. I'm not sure which direction you label them by. Anyway, it's a greater than sign. And this is going to select the LIs that are direct children of a div in this case. So not just generic children nested somewhere in a div, but they are the direct descendant, the direct child. So in other words, one level down. If we look at our markup here, what's a good example? I think I'm going to add in an anchor tag in this footer. And I'll do something like this. Content is available under these licenses. I'm just going to make up a URL license. Okay. So we have, what, 5 anchor tags? I think I'm going to move this actually after the nav. We have 5 anchor tags nested in this footer, right? 5 of them are here. I'm going to refresh, just make sure. And they're all getting that red color because of this line here. Any anchor tag in a footer is red, or this color of red. But if I wanted to select this one and single it out specifically, well, it happens to be a direct descendant of the footer. These other ones are nested inside of LIs, inside of a UL, inside of a nav, and then inside of the footer. So I can target this one using the direct descendant selector, footer, and then that greater than bracket, and then anchor tag.
I see. So if we have a div, right, and then a div, and then if we have nav, right, we have let's make up some stupid gibberish. And then let's say tag. If I want to see, if I said that I need div and p one color to be pink, and then background color to be and oh look at that.
And I don't know what I want to do. I guess a different color maybe. Maybe this light greenish blue color. That might be too light there. Let's see what that looks like. Yeah, it's pretty light, but you can see that it's working. It's a direct descendant of a footer, versus the others are just general descendants. They're nested further down. They're not direct descendants. So I don't use it all that often, but it definitely does come up, and there are situations where it is very helpful. So I don't want you to write it off. I just want to make it clear that it's not as commonly used as some of the other ones we've seen, like element selector, ID and class selectors, and a generic descendant selector like we have here. Any anchor tag nested anywhere in a footer, any anchor tag that is directly the child, directly descended of a footer or from a footer. Okay, so that's a J.
So how about if we have a p tag inside a nav part? That will not be a thing, right? Yeah, but then fine.
Adjacent selector or combinator using the plus sign, and then the direct child selector / combinator using that greater than bracket.
By the way, if you want to look at the VODs, I do have this one loading. Is it? Oh, I'm not streaming. Dang it. Am I even live though? Refresh. I'm not live. What the hell? My internet is bad today. Something wrong with it. Bad internet. Bad.com. Hello.
Select just that. The next selector.
Am I live? Hello? Connect. Please connect. Oh my god. Okay, let's see. Oh, he's a friend of mine too? Oh. Damn it. Start streaming again. Stop streaming and then stop. Okay, and then start. Go. Okay, we live. That's good.
It's called the attribute selector, and this allows us to select elements.
There's something wrong with my setup or something. Let's see. See that we enter.
It's based upon some particular attribute. So a really common example is working with input elements, where we've seen the type attribute drastically varies the actual rendered input.
Okay, let's start this again. We're dropping frames a lot, so Wi-Fi is there. I believe. Okay. No dropping frames, nothing. Okay.
Whether it's a checkbox, a radio button, a text input, a password input, and so on. If we wanted to select one type of those, in this case I'm selecting all inputs where type is set to text, we use the attribute selector. We use the square brackets, and then inside the attribute name equals something. So we don't really have a great example to select on this page. What I'm going to do is, I guess I'll add in another input type. I'll add a password input perhaps, maybe down at the bottom. I'll do, maybe just up top. I'll probably delete it, but just demonstrate this. So inputs type equals password, and I'll add a placeholder that just says password as well. Okay. So I'll save.
Password.
There's our beautiful password input. And if I wanted to select just that one and style it differently, maybe change.
Okay. Okay. We're still got my job. Another six. Like yo.
change the color of those dots, what I can do is go into my CSS. I'm not going to select all inputs. I mean, I could.
It's
I could
live,
start
no
there,
dropping
say
frames.
color
Good.
is about green, yellow. Sure. Refresh. And now as I type, ooh, that's horrible to read. But you can see we get that green, yellow in there and over here. Maybe you can't see that. It's pretty tough. Very low contrast. But if I instead said input, where type equals password, just like that. I need those square brackets. I need type equals password. Now it's only this input or any other password inputs. I just happen to have one. Not this one, which is a text input. Okay, so that's one example. You can even do things that are kind of janky and odd, like I could select using any attribute, including something like class. Class is an attribute, so is ID. So I could say every section where class is equal to post. Now, it'd be much easier just to say post, right? But I could do this section where class is equal to post. I'll give them a background color of purple. I'm going to delete this, but I just want to demonstrate that we can select by any attribute. Actually, a better way of doing this, just for the record, if we had this class post applied to multiple different types of elements, so not just sections, but maybe it was on a div or a nav or something else, and I only want to select the sections with that class, I can do this, section dot post. And that's going to select only the sections with the class of post. Anyway, there is more to the attribute selector. It's pretty rare at least in my experience, to use this syntax, but you can use these other versions where instead of just a direct equal sign, which is the most common, you can do things like star equals, which is like a fuzzier matching. So in this case, any anchor tag where the href attribute contains example.
Oh.
So why don't I go back to my index? Let's look at some of our hrefs here. We've got, and they all start with this hash sign. But why don't I make one of them? How about instead of puppies, I'll do Google. And then in here, I'll do google.com, maybe www.google.com. And then if I wanted to select just this anchor tag, I personally think this is kind of janky to do it this way, but I can. I could say anchor tags for the href. Star equals, and then Google. And I'll give it a different color. How about magenta? Sure. Refresh, and there it is. Magenta, sure. Refresh, and there it is. It gets that magenta color. And none of the other anchor tags do. So that's saying anywhere inside of the anchor tag. I can also do things like this, a $sign equals, which is the href has to end in .org. Now this is not only for hrefs, by the way, this could be for any attribute. So I could do really weird things, like any input where the type attribute starts with the letter T, or the letter T or something. I don't know why you would do that, but you can. But most of the time I'm just working with equal sign, if anything. But there are these other variants, just not as common in my experience. And if you have more questions on this, I wouldn't worry too much, but you can take a look at the MDN documentation. There are a couple of other versions that we did not talk about, and they have examples for all of them. There's also ways to make it case insensitive. So, you know, if I had Google here with a capital G, it's not going to match right now, because the attribute href on that anchor tag only has a lowercase g. Okay, so that is using the attribute selector most commonly. I'm using it for things like this, selecting based off of the type attribute to get one type of input, or maybe using an href attribute, but it's not very common that I want to style links differently based upon where they're from. So honestly, just know that it exists. It is important, but nowhere near as commonly used as the other.
No dropping frames.
So next up, we're going to cover some pseudo classes, which are the kind of modifiers. They're keywords that we add on to the end of a selector that specify a particular state of those selected elements. So this is how we can target things like checkboxes that have been checked, or elements that are being hovered over, or things like every other button. So we're still selecting buttons, but we only want every other, or every fifth, or every 10th. They are modifiers, or keywords we add on. And notice that they all start with a colon here. That is important. We do need to add that colon to signify we're using a pseudo class. And why don't we start with one of the most commonly used ones, which is hover. So hover is going to modify our selection. Here we're selecting all anchor tags, and then this is saying all anchor tags when they are in the special state of being hovered over. So this is how we can make an effect like that right there. It's super common when you hover over something to have some sort of different behavior, or just a different behavior is the wrong term, but a different visual representation to show you that you can interact with it. It's all over the place with anchor tags, that button right there, sign in button, is there anything else? All of that. It's all done with hover. So why don't we work on maybe our buttons, the anchor tags. We can do the anchor tags first. No, let's do the buttons first. So when we hover over
the buttons, we want it to change the color.สวัสดีครับสวัสดีครับสวัสดีครับ the same เนี่ยชื่อเหมือนกันเลย สวัสดีครับสวัสดีครับ welcome to the stream enjoy the stream ถ้ามีคำถามอะไรถามได้นะครับยินดีตอบทุกอย่างตามจากกลุ่มอะครับอ๋อโอเคครับได้ครับได้ครับยินดีครับกลุ่มในอาร์มเปล่าครับ RGB color picker go with this color and we can do RGB boom. Then if we hover, oh look at that, look at that. Okay, and padding bottom 20 pixel. Nope. Oh. Bottom. Yikes. Bottom 20. Whoa. Margin bottom 20. Yeah.ไม่ธรรมดานะเนี่ย
one of these vote buttons. Let's have it change colors. Maybe we'll have it get dark red.
ตอนนี้ผมกำลังเรียนไอ HTML CSS อีกครั้งหนึ่ง เพราะว่าอ่าเขาเรียกว่าอะไรอ่ะเพราะว่าไม่มีอะไรทำ คือผมรู้พวกนี้อยู่แล้วแต่ว่าอยากเรียนอีกครั้งหนึ่งอยากมาเป็น beginner อีกครั้งหนึ่งไม่รู้จะทำอะไรอ่ะมีโปรเจกต์ให้ทำไหมอยากทำบ้างเบื่อมากเลย and เห็นพี่เขาใน Discord ครับ พี่คนนี้ครับเห็นเขาทำพวกโพลอะไรอย่างนี้ แต่ว่าแอปนี้ผมก็ทำได้นะ แต่ว่ามันอ่าไม่รู้จะทำไปเพื่ออะไรอ่ะไม่ได้ใช้ที่ไหนเลยทำเล่นๆอยู่ได้ แต่ผมไปเขียนอะไรนะออโต้คลิกกับบอทผมไปเขียนออโต้คลิกให้ไอเว็บไซต์เขาอะครับวันนี้ก็เขียนออโต้คลิกแน่เลยผมผมก็เขียนออโต้คลิก1,000 กว่าเลยออโต้ปุ๊บปุ๊บปุ๊บปุ๊บปุ๊บเจ๋งเจ๋งเจ๋งเจ๋งจะไปผ่านผู้จริง
So that would be button hover, and we'll go with background color is this reddish color, and then let's give it the text color of this light white right there. Just using VS Code's autocomplete, it's giving me the colors that I've used in this document already. It's really nice. Nice little preview. Okay. So I'll go back, I'll refresh, we don't see anything. Now I hover, hey, it's working. So only when we're hovering, that will apply to all buttons, but you might be noticing.
Should we add some color? Um, yeah, we should add some colors. So make it white. Wow, look at that. I should edit my stream title to Thai in English. Should be learning the basics and then it would be English slash Thai. Oh my god, Thai. There you go. Yeah. Okay, good.
This button here is not working. Now we're going to talk about why in a couple videos soon in this section. It has to do with something called specificity in CSS. It technically is being applied to this element, but it's losing the battle to the ID selector, which is making this dark blue. Anyway, we'll come back to that. So I can hover and they change. I can also get more specific, and instead of saying all buttons, I can say a button inside of a post. So I would just write the selector to do that, a button inside of post, and then when you hover over that button, just like that. So I'll just revise it here, dot post, button hover. When you hover over a button inside of a post, which is something with the class of post, it still works, but these other ones are unaffected. So hover, very common. We can do the same thing for anchor tags. We can make all anchor tags behave differently, give them a different color, or change their text decoration. I don't know how that would look, but we could try it. Anchor tag, hover, text decoration. How about overline? Refresh. And there, that's horrible. I'm not going to keep that, but it is working. We've got a hover effect. Or we could.
I want to hover. Let's make this. We want to make a tag. Let's make hover on a tag inside a nav. Yeah, nav decent. It should be this, and then we could do text decoration red underline baby. Let's go. What the fuck? What the fuck? Should be inside of the div, I think. Yep. Come on. What the hell? How about this A tag? Well, it doesn't apply. Yikes. It is yikes. Maybe we should do, oh, did I spell it wrong? Text deco. Decoration, yes. Inside the nav. Yep. And then if we do this, oh, look at that. We make text decoration none first. Yikes. A just this and then bow. Squigglies with the href of let's say yo, href of yo, and then yo, no squigglies. See,
Could instead, we could remove the text decoration from all anchor tags, or how about all anchor tags instead of a post? Text decoration none, so they don't have that underline. And then when you hover, we'll add the underline in. But we should make those anchor tags a little bit, I think maybe just bolding them. So font weight 700 to make them bolder, so you know there's something there. And then when you hover, we'll set text decoration to underline. And now, hover, and we get that underline effect. Okay, so I think that's slightly nicer, but totally up to you. And we're only doing this currently to, well, this is actually all anchor tags we're doing that to. We should say anchor tags instead of a post. We shouldn't notice much of a difference. All right, so we have other pseudo classes, including things like active. Active represents something that is currently being activated. I don't know if they have any good examples here. Here's one. So when I hover, we get one state, and then I'm going to click but not release. You can see it turn red. Or on a button, that's pretty common, where you're clicking on the button, it's active. You can give it a different color or different state. So it's red, and then when I click, why don't I make it, I don't know, what's a different color? How about something totally different? We'll make it this bright green color. Sure, that one right there. So I'll just do button active, and then background color will be that color right there. And I'm going to specify inside of the post class, just like we did there, right there. Okay, so I'm going to hover, it's red, I'm going to click, it's active, and it turns green. Now I release, we go back to hovering, and now I leave, we're no longer.
Damn, it's active. Didn't know about that. Button active. We want to change to background color. Blue.
Hovering. So I can combine them as you've seen here. This is a class selector with an element selector with the descendant combinator and the active pseudo class.
Yo. Oh, like that? Oh, it's all, you mean like this? But it's not all yo, you know? But I could change this to y and then it will work, I guess. Swiggly, swiggly, swigglies, no swigglies. Thank you.
So we have some others. We've got checked. I won't necessarily show this in an example, but this is how you can select any radio buttons or checkboxes that are checked. So not unchecked, right? You can see there, the styles here are saying any input with type of checkbox where it's actually checked, or any input with type of radio where it's checked. You can see it's checked,
Wow.
we get that text. This is checked, it changes color. As soon as I uncheck or switch in the case of a radio button, it changes color, and those styles are applying. So that's checked. And then one more I'll show you right now is nth of type. Nth of type helps us select based upon position.
I should change my edit. God damn it. Title. Edit. How to change the stream title again? How do I change the stream title? Stream type title. Edit. What the hell? Help. Help. Title. Does anyone know how to change the stream title from here? Wait, slow. Oh, there's user. User, let's check for. Oh, he's here. Whoa, oh. Pop up there. เพื่อนคนไทยของฉันเป็นหญิง I'm good, I'm good. I'm good. How are you? I don't know how to change my stream title from here though. Never mind. Title, new title. Title. Yo. Are you fine too? Nope. I guess we have to do manually, huh? We should. Oh, what? I forgot what I'm going to. Oh. And becoming a CSS engineer. Wow. That's my title.
In a group of siblings. So if I had a bunch of, we've got 4 links here, but if I had a bunch of them, or maybe if I had a whole lot of these posts here, so maybe I'll just duplicate my posts. I'm just gonna duplicate all of this. So I'll get like 6 sections, or maybe even 9. Just paste it in there. If I wanted to do something to every other one, or every fifth, or something like that, I can use nth of type. So I'll just start by selecting those. They're the class of post. And I can give them a background color. Let's do a slightly different background color. So this is, what color are you? This color? Let's put this in a color picker. I'm just going to paste it into Google with that hash symbol there. Is it really a greenish color? Wow, I guess, yeah, it is. And then I'm just going to darken it ever so slightly. I'm just going to drag it down. That's one option. Once we talk about things like RGBA colors and HSL colors, that's another option. But I'm just going to copy this new color right there. It's just slightly darker. So every other post, I want to have this darker color. Right now, that's not going to be the case. Every post gets darker, as you can see right there. It's not particularly nice looking. Okay, so in order to do things like every other, I'm going to use nth. So it's a pseudo selector, nth, or pseudo class rather, of type. And then this one's a bit different. I need to specify that n. So if I do something like nth of type 3 and refresh, I'm now selecting the third of these posts.
Oh, it's title. Wait. I need to save this again. So title should be is giving fake news. Oh, it's fake news. Fake news.
Classes.
Let's do section. Whoa. Catch me if you can. Wait. I need to copy. I don't want my title to go away. If it works. Doesn't work. Go. Copy this. Paste it for here first. Okay. Oh, I forgot the. Dang it. Just standing code? No, I'm sitting. Won't you see my chair here? Section, and then we can do what should we do? We should do class, I think. Class doc shit, right? And then if we do then p tag, we want to do I am the king of New York City and nothing. That's my p tag, right? And that we want to copy all of these. Bang, 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 bang. We save it, we go here, we go to the last page, boom. We want to select the section, which is the class. No, we just want to do class. We do doc shit, and then we want to do the nth dot nth. What was it? Dot nth.
At n.
Nth of type, yeah. N of type, and then if we do 2, and then we want the color to be. Oh my god, what the hell is this? The background color to be purple, right? Every 2 of them would be. What? That is sus. Dog shit. It's a class. Did I do it correctly? Oh, it's not a dot in this. Okay. Boom. Now every 2, you see? 2. Nice.
So
Then you need to add nightbot to use command, I guess. Oh, add nightbot. I don't have nightbot, by the way, but I have my bot. You want to check my bot out? I mean, it's not a bot, it's like terminal sending thing. So I can say at Pharaoh, I am sitting and coding. There you go. I need to fix the chat thing. After it sends the message, I should exist. Send message, right? And then I should exist. How do I exist? Exist the file in this. It's like process.exist, right? I guess it's process something process exit. Something like that. Huh, it does work. Oh. Nice. Oh, process.exist. I think the safest is to do exist. So after we send, we connect, we send the message, and then disconnect. After disconnect, we want to do processing exist. Right? Did I copy it correctly? Then Node.js, doc shit, no. Right here, doc shit, nice. Nice one, super. That's what I was thinking just now. What the hell? Dog shit. Okay, that's good enough. Let's see. Did I spell Twitch correct? Nope. Twitch. Is it correct? Go.
If I use something like enter,
I want to try monkey type. I think I will create a monkey type game. Monkey type program. Help person to replace another and however stand face about plan go word problem good by take many late grade present both and they in even many yeah.
Of type 3 and refresh. I'm now selecting the third of these post.
My back hurts.
So it's not every third.
Nope. You wanna race? You wanna race? You wanna race? Where no must will like me in man child some around all begin. You know you can shoot, but say last same time year. More that keep into down each do some great same time dance. What you gonna do about it? What you gonna do about it? That's it. That's it. That's it. 120. I'm not that fast though.
In a row, right? So it's not counting by threes. It's just the third one. But if I use this syntax, 3n, this
3n. And then every nice. Very nice.
this will get me every third. There we go. 1, 2, 3.
Oh, this is so hot. I thought you already knew CSS. Yeah, I just didn't you see my title, Super? Didn't you see this? CSS engineer. I have to know more than this. I don't know what to do, so just learning HTML again. CSS engineer. Don't know. I mean, I know some stuff, but I didn't know about the swigglies that you can do with HTML. Make Twitch. I think. Like you could make the, how do we say it? The hover thing. Yeah, underline navy. Turn on, then swigglies. Stop this pushy code. A Google search clone. Like this. Input H1, 2 buttons. Yeah, make it. All right. Fuck off. There you go, Google. Yay. Fishy, do you love me? I'm tryna wanna party. Only wanna. Yeah, you know me. Tryna get the fucking. Fishy, do you love me? Yeah, you know me. Search Google. What? There you go.
One, two, three. 1, 2,
Poop.
3. So if I want every even number, every other, I could do 2n. And there we go. I don't know if I really like how that looks, to be honest, but I'll leave it there. That's nth of type.
0 out of 10? How's the 0 out of 10? This is same as Google. 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 Search. Search. Boom. You want in the middle? I can make it in the middle. Wow. Wow. H1 text align center. Bing bang, nice one. Input in font. There you go. And H1 margin top 50. 50%. Oh my god. 20. Oh my god. There you go. And then font. No. And then font size can be 20 pixel. Oh my. 36. There you go. Oh, you don't want font size? There you go. No.
At the moment. There is a more comprehensive list on MDN, so we have quite a few of them. I mean, you can do things as granular as changing an element styles when the placeholder text is shown, right? So we've got placeholder text there, and I can style it one way, and now when I click and type, it goes away. You can have different styles. There are things like first of type and last of type. I think that's enough for now. That is pseudo classes. Next up, something kind of similar sounding, pseudo elements.
What the hell? I need to make this? No touching CSS. Ew. Ew. Background. Nice. And then and type. What was it? I keep forgetting. End of type. Go.
All right, so we.
I would take a break. It's nearly been an hour of coding, so I might take a break, and yeah, we might do something later. Is my video there? This is complete video, I think. Okay, then this one is. Okay. I see. Yeah, I'll take a break. I'll be back. I forgot to open the mic. All right, I'm back. Okay. Let's do some programming.
We just covered pseudo classes. Now it's time for pseudo elements. A lot of people confuse these, and honestly, it doesn't really matter terminology-wise, but they are distinct concepts. So pseudo elements are also things we add on, sort of like modifiers to our selectors, but they are going to select a particular part of the selected elements. So we can style things like the first letter or the first line of some elements. There are nowhere near as many. I'm looking at MDN at pseudo elements. If you remember, there were quite a few pseudo classes. And also, if you look at these ones that have that little flask next to them, they're experimental and they should not be used in production code, is what MDN tells us. So that really cuts it down. There's only a handful of them. And generally, we use 2 semicolons to indicate a pseudo element. However, most browsers don't actually care. You could use 1. Let's take a look at first letter. First letter is how we can select the first letter. We just covered pseudo classes. Now it's time for pseudo elements. A lot of people confuse these, and honestly, it doesn't really matter terminology-wise, but they are distinct concepts. So pseudo elements are also things we add on, sort of like modifiers to our selectors, but they are going to select a particular part of the selected elements. So we can style things like the first letter or the first line of some elements. There are nowhere near as many. I'm looking at MDN at pseudo elements. If you remember, there were quite a few pseudo classes. And also, if you look at these ones that have that little flask next to them, they're experimental and they should not be used in production code, is what MDN tells us. So that really cuts it down. There's only a handful of them. And generally, we use 2 semicolons to indicate a pseudo element. However, most browsers don't actually care. You could use 1. Let's take a look at first letter. First letter is how we can select the first letter of some selection. So I could select the first letter of every paragraph or of every, I don't know, span or something, and this is what we would end up with. So I'll try an example. Let's do the first letter of every H2 maybe in one of these titles. So that's an H2 inside of a post. I think we only have H2s in posts anyway, so I can do first dash letter. And let's make it bigger maybe. Font size, I don't actually know what font size they are right now, but sure, it's not that beautiful, but we can do that. And that's first letter of every H2 on the page. And before I forget, I'll just show you, if we leave off that second semicolon, it still works even though there's supposed to be 2 of them. Chrome is able to figure it out. So a lot of people... People do mix those up. They'll even use 2 semicolons for pseudo classes, which you're not really supposed to. But they all work, at least in Chrome. So I'm not saying you shouldn't care, but just you should know that some people do mix them up. So that's first letter. We also have things like first line. It does kind of what it sounds like. The first line of some, I don't really have much to do that on, but the first line of a paragraph. If I had a bunch of paragraphs in here, let's just add a paragraph with a bunch of lorem ipsum, lorem times 10. All right, and then I'll select paragraph first. I already forgot my 2 semicolons there. First line. And let's go with a different color maybe. How about the first line will be purple. Refresh, and there you go. The first line of text, all of that is purple. And then one more we'll take a look at is selection. So this is going to apply to any part of the document that we have highlighted. It doesn't have to be any part of the document, but any part of some selected elements. As you can see here, we can change that style. And that's using the selection pseudo elements. So where would I want to do that? We'll just play around with this paragraph. So when you select that paragraph, selection, how about a background color of maybe just one of these colors? Let's pick a really nice bright one, maybe that yellow right there. Let's see what that looks like. So now we get this yellow selection. So I could also, if I wanted to apply this to the entire document, I could do that. And now everything I select is going to have that yellowish color. Or I could narrow it down like I did originally. So that is selection, first line, first letter. Those are examples of pseudo elements. We're selecting particular pieces, actual things on the page, rather than pseudo classes, which are states. If something's being hovered or active or checked, pseudo elements are things or parts of an element we're selecting. So that's it for our brief intro to pseudo elements. If you are the adventurous type, you could take a look at before and after. They are pretty interesting, somewhat useful pseudo elements. Do not feel like you need to go learn them right now. You've got a lot on your plate if this is all brand new to you, but I would be remiss if I ignored them entirely. So if you're curious, take a look, and that's it. I'm going away. Bye. In this video, we're going to talk about the cascade. Remember that CSS stands for cascading style sheets. We're now going to revisit that cascading part. It's actually very simple. All that it refers to is the fact that the order our styles are declared in actually matters. Think of a cascade going down, starting at the top of our styles all the way down to the bottom of a style sheet, or onto the next style sheet. The order matters, and the order that things are encountered in is going to be reflected in what you see in the browser. So if there is, in this case, two conflicting styles, two H1 styles, one is red, the other is purple, it's going to be set to red first, but then, thanks to the cascade, it will actually be set to purple instead. So we can see some simple examples of this, right? I'm making H1s and H2s this color here. I could then, afterwards, anywhere on here, say, actually H1s and H2s are actually going to have a color of yellow. And I'll refresh, and they do. That order matters. And that order also matters if we have more than one style sheet. So if I had another style sheet here, just call this more styles.css, and I include that, link more styles.css, and then in here I'll do something like all H1s and H2s actually have a color of about olive drab, just like that. The order matters here. The browser will encounter all of these styles first, one after the other, just going down the page, and then it gets to the next link, which is this style sheet. So it goes here, and it encounters these, and it's going to overwrite what it had earlier. So originally, all H1s were supposed to have this bluish color, and then actually scratch that, they're supposed to be yellow, and then actually now, they're supposed to be olive drab. So if I refresh, there we go, we're getting that olive drab color. So that order matters. And if I had moved that in front and I refresh, now they're set to yellow. Okay, so I'm going to undo that anyway. I don't really want that. But this is just a very important, hopefully easy to understand topic in CSS. The order things are declared in does matter. But there's a more important topic we have to cover next, which is specificity. Next up, what happens when we have conflicting styles that are targeting the exact same element or elements? Well, we already talked about how order matters. So in this case, if H1, that's our main selector, just all H1s, we want them red, and then later on, all H1s, we want them purple. Well, they're basically the exact same selector. They are the same selector, so it just comes down to order. But what if we have different selectors? This is where specificity comes in. Specificity is how the browser decides which rules to apply when there's a conflict. So we have a couple examples of this, actually. I'm going to undo this hideous yellow color and go back to this. Okay, so at the moment, I have my buttons here inside of a post. I gave them this background color when we hover, if I can find that, right here. They get this red color when I hover. But maybe I decide I want all buttons to have maybe an orange or a green color when I hover. So it doesn't matter really where, but I'll do it at the bottom just to be safe. Button, hover, background, color, and I'll do olive. Just like that. And I'm going to refresh. Nothing, well, I shouldn't say nothing happens, but they stay red. Nothing here, but this one turns green. Why is that happening? It's kind of odd. And what if I do something else, like I set font size to be very small on any button that we hover over, 10 pixels. Let's see what happens. So that does work, but the color is only working on this button, it's turning green. But every button is changing size when I hover. So what's going on here? Well, it all has to do with specificity. There's a conflict where I have more than one style that is applying or that could apply to the same elements. So let's take a look at what is competing. So in the case of these buttons right here, inside of a post, we've got this right here. I'm just going to move it down so we can group them together. We've got these two conflicting, where I have a button inside of something with the class of post. When that button's being hovered, make it red, versus here, any button on the page, when it's hovered, make it green. So both of these could apply to the same elements. And if I get rid of this style, right, we'll see that these do turn green, just like this button. But when this applies, the red wins out. So in situations like this, the browser actually does a calculation. It measures how specific a given selector is. And the more specific that a selector is, it will win. It will beat out competing selectors. So here, this is calculated to be more specific than this. Now, there's an actual calculation. You don't really need to know how to do it. You don't need to know, the exact math behind it. But you can generally get a feeling for it. I mean, something like this right here. We've got an element selector, just all paragraphs, make them yellow. And then here, an element selector plus another element selector. Make all paragraphs inside of a section teal. So if you just look at it, this seems more specific, right? We have 2 times number of element selectors, and indeed it is more specific. But it's not that simple. This is the general formula you should remember. An ID is extremely specific, and it will beat out any number of class selectors. And class selectors are pretty specific, and they'll beat out any number of element selectors. So if you actually wanted to do the math or know the formula, it looks like this. Imagine 3 digits arranged left to right. ID selectors, our score goes over here. Any class, attribute, or pseudo-class selectors go here. And any element and pseudo-element selectors go here. So we total up the number. Let's start here. The total up the number of element and pseudo-element selectors. Well, 1, 2. So we put 2 right there. And our total specificity score, we read it from left to right, would just be 2. Now here's another example. If we have an ID, we put 1 right here. Or if we had 2 IDs being used, we would put 2 there. And then we read it from left to right, and we get 100 as a score. So you can see that these count for 100 times more than a single element selector, or a class selector counts for 10 times more. So if we were comparing these two, this selector is far more specific. Here's another example. In this selector, we have all anchor tags with a class of active nested inside of a nav element. So that is two element selectors, 1, 2, we put a 2 there, and one class selector. Once again, this is not something you need to be able to do on your own, but you should be able to quickly recognize that an ID beats out a class, and a class beats out element selectors, and if you have a tie, more element selectors, like 6, if you ever had that, is better than just one element selector, or more specific rather, it's not better. And if you ever are confused and you want to learn more, there are tools like this one I'll include as a link, specificity calculator. We can take these two styles here. So we've got this one, or these two selectors, button, hover, nested inside of a post class, paste that in, and then take this one, just button, hover, put that there, and we see the difference in specificity. This one has a single pseudo class, hover, and a single element selector, so we get 11 as the score. And this one has a score of 21 because it has another class or pseudo class selector. So post and hover are both in this category. We read this top to bottom, 21 versus 11. This wins. Now that's only going to apply when we have a conflict. So background color here, there's a conflict. Which one wins? The more specific, which is this red one. But then font size still applies. It's just there's no conflict, so they're all going to be 10 pixels when we hover. But then we still have this one up top, right here, that's working, but this one is not changing color. I'm going to get rid of this font size, it's obnoxious. But this one here, sign up, when I hover, nothing appears to happen. Why is that happening? Well, let's look at how we made that one dark blue. If we inspect it, you'll see that we gave it a background color using an ID selector. And an ID selector is very specific, as we know. Here it is. So we have our ID selector sign up. And that is going to be, if we go to our calculator, and I just put that in here, sign up, a score of 100. So it's way more specific than what we have here. So this will win. And that's exactly what's happening. The background color is being set to this dark blue color, as we see right there. It doesn't matter, this other style that's supposed to apply when I hover, it doesn't apply because the selector is not specific enough. Is that adding them into that one number here. So I could have 29 element selectors, and it's never more specific than a single class. Specific is higher. With CSS, you'll find that you have things that aren't necessarily. Next up, what happens when we have conflicting styles that In this video, I'd like to quickly talk about some of the CSS dev tools that are built into Chrome that are very useful. So we've already seen that we can right-click on an element and go to Inspect, and we've got our HTML element nav or element inspector up top. I can navigate through them, I can open, expand things, but I also get this CSS down here. here. So if I'm not sure why something is applying or not applying, I can select that element. So how about this right here? I've got these two, or these H2s. I select one, and then I can see the styles here. And I can see that they are set to olive drab. But why is this blue color here and it's being crossed off? Well, that's showing me that yes, this could be applying, or it could apply, but it is not winning in the specificity battle. So for whatever reason, maybe it's ordered, maybe it's less specific, this style is not being added, it's not being applied to this H2. And if we look, right, this is something we did earlier. I set them to be olive drab in my second style sheet, and I set them to be blue, wherever that is, in my first style sheet. And if we look at the order,
I'll be back. Do you keep VODs? I keep on my YouTube channel. Ah. Yeah, you can look at it. This was yesterday. It's gonna be soon uploaded, but it's like maybe in your time, maybe today after tomorrow it will be uploaded. This and here. But this video, no, I don't have the 6-month-old VODs. I don't. The Twitch delete itself. I didn't even download it too, so I don't have my old videos. Yeah. I'll be back. In a second. I'll be back. All right. Hello. Okay. Good. The cringing sound. This one. It's switching workspace. Yeah.
First one and then second one. So they're going to be blue.
I'm so bored. Like, I know this stuff already, but I want to get to the, how do we say it? The responsive thing, and I wanna learn this one, these things. Ajax, Bootstrap, DOM manipulation, Node.js, Express, templating. Scooter? Where did you see a scooter? It's a Red Bull. Scooter? Oh. Oh, in Day in the Life? Which one? This one? Well. Oh, this time lapse was cool. Look at that. Kind of cool. Oh. Look at the clouds. Scooter. Oh, this? It's an Honda. Honda Wave. Like this? Yeah, with the gym. Yeah, this. Yeah, gym. Eat, rest up. Yeah. Oh, we got this. It was a year ago, so. Was it a year ago? Own the shop? No, it's my parents. It's my parents' shop. When was it? I did. You should watch this weekly, this and this. It's like a week of mine. It's 1 week of mine. What I do in a week, and this is the part 2. Yeah. When was the day in the life? It was a year ago, so don't expect it would be the same now. It's years ago. It was like 1 year ago. November. It's nearly 2 years. Nearly 2 years. So don't expect it. It should be the same. But you can still watch it if you want. I was just making random videos. I didn't do any programming back then though. When I really started programming was I mean, I started in 2018 or 18 doing HTML CSS, but I still have some notes, I think. This is what we made. We made this with a friend. Made this with a friend of mine. We have some Indian songs. I like them. I like this guy. I understand something. Good. Beatles. Pink Floyd. This was my friend's thing. He uploaded. And now this was my thing. And this was like just famous artists. This was what I liked, so I uploaded. And yeah. But when I started really programming was, I think, yeah, July 18, I think. No. I don't know where it is. Sorry. Maybe it's in my, what the hell? DCH. Reminder. Oh, I started programming here. This is when I took it seriously. So it's a year now.
Blue first, and
Technically it's 2-3 years, but when I took it seriousness. So yeah.
and then they're overwritten to be green. And if I wanted to see what they looked like, I could uncheck that, and you'll see they go back to blue, but that's not changing anything outside of this one window. My style sheet is unchanged. If I refresh the page, I lose that, but it does let me play around. So I also can do things like tweak the color here. I could put my own color in here. I also get a color picker. If I click on it, I now can look at different colors. I can play around with colors and see the hex code there. Once again, it's not updating my HTML, but it is very useful. And I can also add things in here, like maybe I want them to be larger. Font size 30.
Hey, can we send data using post requests? Yeah, you can. Yes, you can send. Do you have any specific question or code so that I can see? But yes, if you Google it, can send. If you Google sending data through code requests, can we use parameter? I don't. What do you mean? Can you show me the code? Like, what language are you doing? Like, can you show me the code so that I can know what parameter you're talking about? So it's possible to send by post. This is the Apache shit, not this one. In Python, okay, you're using Django or Flash? Django. So with Django we can do Django post method, yeah. So you could do like this. Where was it? You create a form and then where was it? Yeah, method post like this. Take a look at this one. And then so in here you should technically, when you do this, I'll show you, like what do you mean? Like query parameters. Oh, for that you need a name. If you want sort true, you need name, not a form. API. I think it's possible, but just a second. So with Django, you could do let me create for you this, right? So let's do Django, right? Django. So like this. So like this, you can do like, you can put with Django you can do something like this, and URL, I guess, and then your thing. But if you want to, like, for, you see they have for and they have a name here, so you can put like sort here, I mean sort, and then sort here, and then if you have a radio button or something, it will become true. REST framework, I'm not sure, but I can Google it for you. So you want to, like query parameters, this. What do you mean by JSON that? Like when you, so when you send the form, let's say submit, it's okay, value, it's okay, you click it, you want it to send this, right? You want it to send like this, but not in the form itself, but you want in REST framework. Sending data to REST framework, REST API, I think. API, yeah. It's possible, but something like this. That's what you mean when you send it using form. I'll get back to you. Just a second. Communication. When you send it using form. Oh, you wanna send? Okay, you wanna send the data, this data into JSON format, and then okay, got it. You need to use a framework for that. So you just go sending data to sending data. You can use Ajax to do that too if you want. Ajax, and then Ajax send data. There's not good example here. You can just use the REST framework. What was it? I forgot. It was something. Django REST API framework. It was something. Uh, yeah, yeah. There you go. It's just this Django REST framework, and then you put the install here, and then when you send, I think you should send data as JSON. Creating JSON response. Yep. So if you see in this, if you get it in JSON, you need the JSON library to read the JSON, something like this, or maybe JSON dump, which is like it's better to use JSON dump JavaScript. It's better to use JavaScript because JavaScript it's yeah, stringify. You can use like this, then run. You get like this. But you could use dump also. And yeah. But if you send through the JSON, you need like this JSON response. Get the response from the thing. So basically if you have, so let's say you have a function, let's say you have JSON accept JSON, and then like this, and then you return, I'm just doing like scratch, right? JSON dump, something like this, right? And then you link this to JSON, and then you send it here, and then you use some REST API to send this to here, and then you have to dump it, and then do, or maybe you dump it, save it to JSON plain raw JSON, and then you do what you want. Yeah, and then you do what you want. I think you're asking me how do you send the JSON itself. That I have no idea too, because I never sent, but I see someone using REST, the Django REST framework, which I showed to you, the pip install Django REST framework. Yeah. Yeah, something like this. You should include the REST framework, and then it will send as JSON for you. I think you cannot do it in HTML itself. You have to do in the URL, the urls.py, and then usually you link your URL like this, right? Like URL, and then something, and then view, then something, and then something, right? But if you want to send in JSON, you have to do something like this. What editor you usually use? Vim. Yep, Vim. Yes, you can read about it too. I usually use 8.2. So like consume a post request data and display request data on the form, and based on the yeah, I think you can, if you like what MadFlash said, like what I said too, you can just use the for a name to send if it's unnecessary for JSON. But if you want for learning purposes, you want to put in JSON, then you can do what I said, like this. Or maybe I think there's a better way to do it. And I'm not sure if you can do in the HTML itself. Sending data from as JSON object. You have to use Ajax for that, I think. Sending from data as JSON in Django. JSON response. Yeah, I understand this is for the backend, I know, but how do you fucking send it? Form clean data from form error as JSON. Look at that. How you can look at that. This is validating, not this. Yeah, I think there's no way to do it in the HTML itself. Form to JSON. Oh, this is creating. Oh, so what you can do is you can send the form itself first. So you can send if you want in JSON, you can send this first to your server and then convert this data to JSON, and then you can do whatever you want in JSON. Maybe you want to do the JSON in JS, and the JS is a little bit faster or something. You can do that way, but I'm not sure how you could send this data as JSON to the server. But you could send this data to the server and then convert this data to JSON, and then you can do something with JSON. I need to filter the data based on the JSON given by front and end. Okay. Yeah. If there is a way to send in the HTML itself, please tell me too. I don't know. I believe it's there. Yeah, Django just have request data, request post. Maybe you can do request.post.json, maybe. I'm not sure. Oh, here. Request.query parameters. Get how to send form as JSON. In Django. How to send. You have to do Ajax. Yep. Yep, like this. And then post URL data. URL should be your URL, like the function, and then data would be the thing here, the value here which you want, or because essentially you want sort equal to true, and you can put this true, and then you can have like 4 or success code or something, and data type. Yeah, look into this. Look into Ajax. I think that's what you need to look into. Okay, I think that will help you a bit, but I didn't show exact how to do it because I also don't know, but I do know that there's possible way to convert it to JSON, but I'm not sure if it's possible to send as a JSON itself. So and this is converting to JSON because it's data and you know. See, when you look at this, there's no HTML showing us converting to JSON. So I guess that's how Django is. But if you use like Node.js, there's a way to do that easily. Yeah, I think that will give you some guidance, some help. Try to look into these two links that I sent to you.
30 pixels.
Oh,
I can do that inline
I'm really tired today.
in the
I guess I have to finish this section. Oh, it's an hour. How long have been streaming? 2 hours? God damn it. God damn. I should take a break. I'll be back. I'll take a break. I'm too tired. So, yep. What? Okay, I'll be back. Enjoy the little music that I opened for you. Do we have musics? Okay, I'm back. Hello. Hello. Okay, that's good. Got some snacks here. Got some drinks. And then we're gonna watch some videos or read something. Maybe watch this. And then yeah.
The browser just to play around and see what things look like, toggle them on and off. You'll also see down below some of the default styles that we get from Chrome. So for example, every H2 has font weight of bold, but I could change that and say font weight normal. And there we go. It's no longer bolded. I refresh, everything goes back to normal. So those dev tools can be very useful, especially when something is not applying the way you expect. Here we can see, I've got this button. All buttons have a background color of this light blue color. You can see right there, if I don't hover, that light blue. But this one has an ID, and so its background color is this dark blue. But if that ID selector were not there, it would be light blue. You can see that specificity battle happening right there. This is more specific than this. So this is crossed off. That's Chrome's way of telling us this does not apply because of specificity or order or some other reason. So that's all I want to mention with the Chrome DevTools. Super useful. There's more to CSS. I mean, if you have a ton of styles, there's a lot that you can do in here. You can search and filter. Also, if you're trying to figure out what's going on with hover state, right? So why is this turning red and this is green and this is, let's say, why is this not turning green? Let's start with that. If you toggle this, force element state to be hover, and I'm going to do it not just on that button, but let's do it on this button here. So I select that button, once again click, select, force to be hover, and then we look at the styles. You can see our selectors now, button hover, it does have that red background. This green is not being applied because it's less specific than this one here that also has a class selector. So these dev tools are super useful. Make sure you get comfortable using them. Just practice, play around with them, and you'll honestly find a lot of situations where you have no choice but to use them anyway, or else you go crazy. So highly recommended. Chrome DevTools, CSS. Bye.
What's with this bullshit?
To wrap up our discussion around specificity, there are two other things I need to mention. The first is inline styles, which are actually more specific than IDs and classes and elements. They are the most specific thing we've seen yet, and that's one of the reasons that almost nobody recommends, I don't think anybody recommends you use them, and almost nobody uses them. But remember, they are a valid way of styling an element. So for example, I've got an ID on
I'll be back. I'm back with sneakers.
On this button, and I have the color set to white through that ID selector right here. It's white-ish. But if I added an inline style on that button, just right here, I could do something like style equals, and then color is actually what's really obvious. How about coral? Sure. Just like that, and I refresh, you'll see that the text is indeed coral. It doesn't matter that there's an ID that we have used to select and set the color, because IDs are less specific than inline styles. So generally avoid inline styles. They can lead to confusion. The fact that they are separate from your actual style sheets is extra confusing, because I may not know that I actually set this style here when everything else is set in my CSS. So avoid that. And then the next other topic that I have not yet mentioned is something called importance. The important rule is something that we can use on individual style declarations. It is generally something you should now use. I don't recommend you use it, but you should know about it because you may see it, and there could be a time where it makes sense to use it. But here's what it will do. When you assign a declaration, a style declaration, as important, see, as you can see right here, you put it after some property. So color, red, or firebrick, important. It's exclamation point important. What that is going to do is signal to the browser that this should be the most specific possible thing, and it should override any other declarations. So technically, as you can see here, it has nothing to do with specificity, but it is, you can think of it as super specific. It's actually an exception outside of the model here. It's not like there's a calculation for important. It just wins automatically. So I'll show you an example of that. Why don't we take a look at the same button that has this ID that is making it dark blue, and instead of setting the background color to be blue here in the ID, I'll just do a generic button selector, and I'm going to give it a background color of magenta, just super obvious, right? And we only see that take effect on these buttons that don't have any more specific selectors targeting them to set that background color. But this one does. Its background color is set through an ID selector. But if I simply add on important right here, important, just like that, and refresh, now this one also has a magenta background color. So I'm kind of throwing a wrench in the whole system. I'm messing everything up by using important. Now, there are maybe some situations, like I said, where it might come in handy if you're working with styles that somebody else wrote, like an external library or a tool that you don't necessarily have control over, and you're trying to change or override something. You can use important, but generally, I don't think I've ever used it. I mean, not in the last couple of years. I haven't had a situation where I've needed it, but you should know about it. So two things that are kind of bad ideas to use. One is inline styles. The other is the important declaration, which will just ignore specificity and just make something win automatically. So both of them are there. They are things. You should know about them. And more importantly, you should know not to use them.
Inheritance.
Next up, one pretty quick topic, which is CSS inheritance. It's something that we've actually seen in practice, even if we haven't explicitly called it out yet. It's just the fact that some CSS properties will be inherited by child elements if they're not set on that element specifically. So I'll show you what I mean in this new demo that I've made. It's nothing fancy. It's just some basic HTML, no styles yet, It's in a new folder. I called it Inheritance Demo, if you want to follow along with the code. So we've got the body, an H1, and then a section that has an H2 in 2 paragraphs, and then another section with another H2 in a form with a label input and button. Okay, so if I go to my app.css, which I've already included, it's empty, and if I give the body a color, let's start with color, just text color. So color is, let's do purple, just like that. What do you expect to see when I refresh here? The body element itself has no text directly inside of it like this, but it has a bunch of elements. Given that this video is on inheritance, you may have gathered that these elements will inherit that purple color if we have not explicitly set a color on them. So if I, style an H1 and I give it a color, of course we've already seen this color. How about blue here? That H1 is blue. So that is not inherited from a parent. That is set specifically on the H1. And if I open up my DevTools here, go to Elements, and we look at about this section here, maybe that H2 right there. If you want to know where that purple color is coming from, we don't see color purple set anywhere here on H2. But if we scroll down, inherited from body, color purple. So that's how the DevTools handle inherited properties. You can play with them, you can change those colors. You could do teal instead and see what happens. So inheritance continues to work. Let's say I take each section and I give them a color. How about aqua? Just like that. We look at our markup. We have 2 sections. Here's one and here's another. So they have content inside of them. And let's just refresh and you'll see what happens. The H1 still has no color set on it explicitly. I removed that blue color. So it inherits purple from the body. And then these elements don't have a color set explicitly, so they inherit from the closest parent that does have a color set. So they could inherit purple from the body, but there's a closer element, the section here, and this section, that has a color set on it. So I could do one more level, right? I could set this form to have a color. Form, color will be, how about a green color? Green, yellow, sure. And I'm going to refresh, and you'll see that this label does inherit that color, but these 2 elements don't, the 2 form controls. So we have a text input, and we have, well, actually, just to demonstrate for sure that the color is not inherited there, this is placeholder, which is different, but here's text. This is what would change if the color was green. And this button doesn't change either. Well, no, I submitted my form. So why is that happening? Well, certain elements don't inherit things by default. And if you want them to, there is a workaround. It's not that common to do this, but I could select my button, just as an example, and I can set the color property to the keyword inherit. And I can actually do this for any property. I can set it to inherit. And if I refresh, oof, it's a little horrible to look at, but it does inherit that color. And I could do the same thing for this input. Input, that's all inputs. Set the color to green, and there we go. Well, I'm not setting it to green, I'm setting it to inherit from whatever the nearest parent is that has a color. So if I got rid of this, what color are they going to be now? Well, they're in a section, so they're going to have that aqua color. And if I got rid of that, they're going to inherit from the body, because everything's in the body. So not every element will inherit every property. As we just saw, for color on a button and input, we had to explicitly set color to inherit. Not super common, but I just wanted to show you that you can. Also, not every single property on Earth will be inherited anyway. Some of them are not inheritable. If you take a look at any property on MDN, we haven't actually covered border yet, but it does what it sounds like. It makes a border on elements.
Yeah, oh, Bear, what's up? What's up? Long time no see. And before I disappear. Yeah, I hope you're doing well too. I didn't see you a long time. What is going on? What's that? Never heard of this. Oh, crap. I see. Migraine. Oh, you got a migraine headache. That sucks. Usually when I have this, I only have on my left side. It's like headache. Yeah, take rest. Take rest. Get some medicine. Stop watching computers. Yeah. Stop doing Rust. That's what Rust do to you. Look at this. Stop doing Rust. See this? This girl is seriously. Oh. Take rest. Hope you get back normal. Well, hope you get back normal soon.
And if you scroll down, there's always this blue little box here of additional information or special, I don't know, properties. And if you look for inherited, it says no for border. But if we look at another property like color and we scroll down, where are you?
Alright.
Here we are, inherited, yes. So if you ever have questions, you can look at that, but you'll also just figure it out over time that certain elements or certain properties are inheritable and others aren't. That's all I wanted to say for now. Just a quick demonstration. Okay, so that's inherited.
Alright, we finished this section. And we are on the new section, but we will save this for tomorrow, I think. Because it's been 2 hours. And I have been coding, watching this video since. So, yeah. I guess 4 now. 4 p.m. It's 4 p.m. So fast. Alright. It's 4 p.m. Yeah. Alright. See ya. Thanks everyone for watching in Twitch or YouTube. If you're on YouTube, you can click subscribe down here, down below here, or you can watch the new video right there. Over there, you see there? See there, over there? Over there? No? And you can click subscribe here or over there. And yeah.